as usual, first we need to be set up the proper intention. Uh, One of the best intention is bodhicitta. So most of you might be know about the bodhicitta. So at least before taking this class, first make sure each of us set up intention as a bodhicitta. So out of bodhicitta, if we listen or discuss on this subject, it can, whatever we accumulate virtues and merits, all those virtues and merits becoming the causes of enlightenment Buddhahood. So that's why there's huge benefit. And also, out of bodhicitta or out of proper intention, when we listening this teaching, then we can able to use the teachings, whatever we receive, we use that tool uh, to overcome one's own mental reflection. Another word is we can able to use and we can uh, uh, apply the teachings inward, not just in external. So there are many other beneficial. So of course I don't need to say again, most of you know that. So at least out of bodhicitta and saying the word and without thinking, then it's not really benefit. Rather, you know, each individual set up your own intention bodhicitta, and before uh, generating bodhicitta, taking refuge to the Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and then bodhicitta, and out of that, then we take this class that's more beneficial. Okay, last week we talked about the benefit of giving rise to the mind of enlightenment, or which is bodhicitta. So there's a 10 benefit based on Pabonkha Lamrim's the liberation in the palm of your hand. So we discussed that all 10 beneficial. Now learning, of course, uh, not just take this class, you should also read mainly Lama Tsongkhapa, the Lamrim Chemo, which has 3 volumes. I think the second volumes it's talk about the bodhicitta. So if you learn more like that, that's more understanding about bodhicitta, uh, much better chance to develop the meditation on bodhicitta. Less understanding on that and on bodhicitta, and there's a less chance. So anything we meditate, first we have to understand properly, correctly. So that's why the first, in order to understand, we have to hear, we have to listen this teaching. We need to read it. Then read it, hearing again and again and again. Then slowly we can able to think. We can able to investigate. We can able to analyze what we receive the teaching. We not just we accept it, not just we just believe that. We have to be analyzed to investigate. So investigating, analyzing through the wisdom. Then slowly, 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 when things makes more sense, when things are really beneficial, then we experiencing the meditation. So we meditate to try to experience. So the purpose of this studying on hearing and analyzing on meditation is to arise, right? To achieve the bodhicitta. So the achieving bodhicitta is not just visualizing. This right now, we have a mind which is so much involved with the self-centered. Right now, our mind is more towards self-centered. So very strong self-centered. That's why it's easily become angry, easily attached, easily grow the jealousy, ignorance, and all these other negative emotion. Because of that, we accumulating negative karma. Our physical behaves are turning into violent. Our speech are also turning into negative. So then it's not only accumulating negative karma or contaminated karma, it's also destroying our friendship, relationships, and your dignities, your values, and everything. And because of that, it brings you stress or fear or worries or all those internal inner pains and suffering. Not only that, it's also affected to our physical lives. So it's creating so much problem, not only one, it's also to others. So that's why only the way to get rid of this problem is we have to slowly to reduce those mental afflictions, which are the fundamental causes of all the suffering. To get rid of this mental affliction, they are the main two causes. The one cause is called mind of ego grasping, or the mind of self grasping, which is more deeper, more difficult to remove that. And in order to remove this mind of ego grasping, the ignorance is the way to remove that is understanding the ultimate truth. So wisdom of emptiness is you know, the tool can antidote to mind of ego grasping. And then another cause is self-centered. The self-centered or the selfish of the mind. So this is another causes of all our negative emotions. So to get rid of self-centered, selfish mind based on love and compassion through that generating bodhicitta. So bodhicitta, out of love and compassion, is a very powerful tool, can help us to uh, reduce, finally to eliminate the self-centered. And also that as long as, if you achieve the bodhicitta, then last time I mentioned earlier, it's like a main engine. So it can push you into the Mahayana path or into the enlightenment, Buddhahood. So you have a very strong, wishes to achieve enlightenment to, for sake of others. So if you have a very strong that, so living with bodhicitta, then all your action, your decision, your lifestyle, everything, something comes into the practice. You live your body, speech, and mind with the meaningful uh, uh, life. So it's called like a eightfold path when we talk about, right? So right action, right speech, right livelihood. So that's livelihood. So that the way, if we have bodhicitta, we can live like that. So every day, every second, every minute, we accumulating the virtues and merit, which is the causes of enlightenment, Buddhahood, and every second, every minute, we are getting closer, closer, closer to achieve enlightenment, Buddhahood. So everything is its key point is the bodhicitta. So last class we study on the 10 benefit. Actually, there are hundreds of different types of the beneficial, to have the bodhicitta. So read these things and think about that. Point is studying about the benefit of giving rise to the bodhicitta is encourage oneself, inspire oneself or stimulate oneself into the meditation on bodhicitta. That's the main purpose. So if that is not inspiring you, then maybe you knowing that and you're just not taking seriously, or you are not really picking from heart. Maybe what you knowing is you're keeping that as just as a knowledge. So it's nothing that much beneficial to oneself to turn your mind. Just knowing without without touch to your heart, then there's a gap between your heart and your knowledge. If you live with that, separate your heart and the Dharma, if you live with separated, then Dharma not going to help you from your heart. It's not going to touch your heart. So it's not that much inspire you. It's not that much encourage you. Not only that, even when you're doing the Dharma is just only the sort of like a sort of the drama. You know, oh, people might think I'm meditating. People might think I'm a good person because I'm doing this meditation. Or people might. So you're doing this is all about attach oneself to gaining the name, to gaining the power, to gaining some kind of money or the reputation. So then that kind of Dharma, instead of helping you to reduce your negative emotion, this Dharma will turn into bringing more negative emotion. Dharma become a poison. So when the medicine become a poison, then it's danger. Same. When the Dharma become a poison, then you consider yourself, I'm doing the practice of Dharma, but the reality is it's not helps to reduce your negative emotion. The main purpose of applying the Dharma, I mentioned earlier last time when we talk about the renunciation, is the main purpose is to reduce the mental affliction, those inner poison, which creating all these problems. So when you say apply the Dharma, which doesn't mean just prayer or just set up all this offering. These are very good, but it's not enough. These are the branches practice. These are not the root fundamental practices. So fundamental practices it's experiential. Feel love, feel compassion, feel bodhicitta. So your mind should be becoming day by day becoming more familiar. When we say a gom in Tibetan, the gom which means be familiarized. So it makes your mind with love, with compassion, with bodhicitta more familiar. So that means the feeling. So when you generate bodhicitta within your mind stream, then really it will change. It will benefit to you, reduce your selfish, self-centered, and so forth. So that's why, study the Dharma, it's inward. It's take inward. It's not about the exward. It's not about becoming scholar. It's not about becoming, I don't know, ego or to gaining the name or reputation. Is not about that. That's called eight mundane concern. So if your intention is polluted with eight mundane concept, or eight, we call the jigden chöge in Tibetan. So eight mundane concern, then mainly it's attached to oneself. So gaining reputation, gaining power, gaining money, you know, um, then when you lose these things, you feel sadness, you feel angry, to gaining to get bad reputation, to lose the money, to lose the power. So all this, it's mainly is sort of like a self-centered, gaining out of attach, to gaining something material things. So out of this kind of intention, when whatever practices you're doing, it's not benefit. Your containers become what you call dirty. So that if the container is dirty, then whatever nice food put it in this container, all those food will contaminate. It's becoming not eatable, right? So that's why the first make sure the clean container. Just having container not enough. The clean container. So the clean container is the intention. So the art of renunciation, art of bodhicitta intention. So when you have that intention, then even study, even reading books about the Dharma, even you're practicing, even simple prostration, even simple offering one incense, very different out of bodhicitta. It's so much beneficial. It's taking everything inward. So even doing like simple prostration, it's not just you do and you bowing, outside externally think. It's the, receiving blessing. Not only that, the one of the purpose of the prostration is to reduce the ego, the arrogance. Is one of the biggest, what you call the danger, the emotion, which the ego It's the danger emotion which is uh, disturbing to us to grow our wisdom. It's because, oh, I know this, I know that. Oh, my point is the right, you is the wrong. Because the ego is the like shutting down your mind. It's just looking in oneself. It's that's sort of to get rid of that ego. So the prostration we're doing, right? During the prostration, we just try to develop humble attitudes, try to develop respect attitudes. When you have respect to other, that helps you to reduce your ego, your arrogance. So these prostrations are not just only physically, we accumulating virtues and merits and blah blah blah, not only all purifying negative karma and so. Not only that, there are some important things. Looking oneself to develop your humble attitude when you prostrating to your gurus or the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. You're first learning that respect attitude, the faith and respect to them. Then you use that faith and respect you have to apply to other people, in your home, with neighbors, other sentient beings. So as long as if you have a more respect attitude to other, less of the ego, the danger. So that's why this each practices have even external doings we're doing. There's also very much meaning behind the inward, internal. There's something dealing with our uh, uh, negative emotions. So all these take internal. It's need to be set up a proper intention. So the Bodhicitta is one of the best intentions. Now, last we finished the beneficial of giving rise to the bodhicitta. Now today, how to give rise to a mind of enlightenment. So when you think about meditation, which means you are reading all those beneficial, all those benefits of developing the bodhicitta, having the bodhicitta. Then when you read this thing, when you think again and again and reading and learning and investigating, so it makes you some kind of joy. It helps you to seeing this bodhicitta as how important, how precious. So it feels like helps to wish to generate that, wish to have this bodhicitta. So encourage you to generate the bodhicitta, encourage you to study, to meditate on bodhicitta. So when you have that, then next point is how do we give rise to the mind of enlightenment, which means the bodhicitta. So how to give rise, how to develop, another word, how to develop bodhicittas. So, and there's 2 points. One is called the causes to be relied on to give rise to bodhicitta. Second is called the stages of the training in bodhicitta. The causes to be relied on to give rise to bodhicitta. So the causes to be relied on to give rise to bodhicitta, according to the what do you call I think Arya Asanga's the text called the Bodhisattva grounds. So according in his text, Bodhisattva ground in Tibetan we call Chansa. So Bodhisattva ground, he said the 4 causes, 4 conditions, 4 strengths, or 4 power. So he used that 4 causes and 4 conditions and 4 strengths or what you call 4 powers. So what are the 4 causes to develop the bodhicitta? The first is called the cause that awaken one into the Mahayana lineage. So the cause, the cause that awaken one into the Mahayana lineage. Then second, the cause of being sustained by the virtuous spiritual guide. The cause, then third, the cause of being healed by great love and great compassion. Then the fourth, the cause of being able to withstand, withstand, withstand others' ascetic practices. So if you know, the first one called the course that awakened one into the Mahayana lineage. So maybe in the past, reading those Mahayana lineage, Mahayana scriptures, and think about these Mahayana scriptures, how beneficial. So, and meditate many times about compassion and bodhicittas. So it's sort of, these are the imprints you put it many, what you call, another word is the karma to engaging to the Mahayana. So that it's called the cause that awakening one into the Mahayana lineage. So if you are very much if you have many seeds or imprints into the Mahayana practices, so these can help you to enter yourself into the Bodhicitta, becoming interesting into the Bodhicitta in the past life. So in this life, you study the books and meditate on bodhicitta and be rejoicing about the Mahayana paths, Mahayana practices. Even you not achieve bodhicitta in this life, but you put so much seeds, so much imprints in your mind. Therefore, in next life, just naturally, you want to study on Mahayana. You want to practice Mahayana. So that's called the courses that awaken one into the Mahayana lineage. So, some certain people, they just have some kind of joy, some kind of desire to learn about Mahayana paths, to learn about the Mahayana teachings. So these are some kind of one of the courses. Then second courses is the course of being sustained by a virtuous spiritual guide. In Tibetan. So if these are also important as a practitioner, first when we engage into any uh, practice, we have to learn through our spiritual teachers, spiritual guides. So if your spiritual guide or the teacher was something like a Mahayana teacher, a very qualified teacher, uh, and then we listening, you know, making connection with our teachers, and that influence us, to becoming interesting, or to becoming uh, what you call enjoying, inspiring us to engaging or to practice in Mahayana paths or bodhicitta. So that's causes of the causes of being sustained by the virtuous spiritual teachers, like a great and a qualified spiritual teacher. So teacher can influence us to you know uh, engaging to the bodhicitta. So beginning the Lamrim, we already talk about the Guru devotion. So that's why the what kind of teacher you needed in order to researching the teacher, first understanding the teacher's qualification. It's not just, we have a story or the example used to be said that if the dog, when they get, pieces of meat, he will not going to research anything. He just jump and take that meat. Similarly, if you just take, oh, this is teacher, we just take teaching and seriously to make a connection as a teacher and student relationship, then eventually, oh, this problem, that problem, this, but then it really disturbs your spiritual path. So, as a human beings, we need to be investigated. Just take a classes is not a big deal, you know. Not seeing him or her as a teacher, just seeing him or her as a Dharma friend. You can take lectures, you can take teachings, and that's no problem. But when you really seriously engaging or into the Dharma, then you need to have some kind of the teachers, the rely on teacher, somebody can support you, take you in that path. So to make that connection, relationship as a teacher and students, because all the blessings, all the uh, oral transformation and teachings, we have to come through our teacher. So without having teacher, it's also very difficult to achieve anything, and need to have teacher, but the teacher, in order to have them, so you have to make sure you know the teacher's qualification and investigate these teacher qualifications are, do he or she has or not. Don't jump and quickly decision. Wait, be patient, investigate. So those 10 qualities at the London teacher, right? We talked about last time. So these, looking these 10 qualities, the mainly one of the qualities having compassion, really pure intention. The teacher who teach you, who helps you, is not because the teacher himself to getting some kind of money or the power or reputation, fame, and not seeking like that way. It's pure compassion to really, wants to help to those students to take to into enlightenment. It's not looking oneself to gain something, this or that. So if a person has that kind of intention, then there's something it's unqualified. So then above there, very smart, really understanding the Dharma, whatever you're taking the classes, or he or she really understand that. Uh, if their understanding of Dharma is very little, then you receive the teaching very little. If their understanding of Dharma is very wide and profound, then you have a much better opportunity to learn. Sometimes many things you can't learn from the book alone. There are many things you have to, find it through directly communication, more experiential. There are sometimes you read in the book and you read talking, telling to somebody, teachers when they tell us, it's very different. It comes with experiential when they give you the teaching is something very heart moving. It's really inspired. It makes you more sense. So only so so that's why teaching him or herself is really a practitioners, whatever they're teaching, is not just scholar, not just smart academic, he or she also a serious practitioner on that subjects, and pure intention, very scholar, very good understanding, and very skilled to teach to others, very skillful, very patient, when they teach, and also the three higher training, you know, uh, the higher training of ethic, the moral, and concentration, the wisdom, and then upon there, wisdom is called the wisdom for understanding the emptiness, like all the and all these the 10 qualities there are. Yeah, you know that. So checking that instead of that, oh, how he is famous, how she is famous, or is this Geshe, or is this Rinpoche, or what kind of is higher Rinpoche, or looking like only the name or reputation, then you're looking is like you're looking some kind of like a business, or how famous, how fame, or what kind of throne they're using, how big throne they're using, what kind of hat they're wearing, or what kind of lineage, what you call, how many reincarnated, all this, if just looking on these kind of things, then they say, oh, this is great master, great teacher, because this is, so many lineage come from, and his previous one is this, that, and he's very famous, and he did, if you're just looking at the fame or the reputation on physical appearance, then sometimes, it's becoming more sort of like a business, like, and when they advertise, then they were going to put in all these things, and then yeah, I don't know, but like that, these things will sometimes it will go that way. Just If you know the way you need, you rely on him or her. Is the main thing is to get rid of your ignorance, to get rid of your mistaken wrong consciousness called the negative emotion. That's the main purpose. These negative emotion dominate us, polluted us, occupied us. We are not free. We are not freedom, right? Not free. We are circling samsara because we pulled or tied by those mental affliction. So I need somebody can help me to get rid of this negative emotion. So to do that, of course, is self-responsibility. But to do this, you have to understand. Not only understand the level, you have to, because we are very lazy, our environment is very much polluted by this mundane. Every morning, every time when you see, when you talk with the people, they all talk about the mundane things, which is how to make a money, how to make these beautiful houses, how to have a nice, fancy car, how do you have this, all this every time you're hearing this kind of to, you know, challenge about those materials, so drama worlds, and if all these things you're hearing, this spiritual side is very little. So it's very difficult. So the person will rely on him or hers who inspire, not only give the message or teaching, can inspire you. And many things is as an ordinary person, if we have a different types of the brain capacity, so maybe we're looking this, it's very hard to understand. Or sometimes even it's really difficult to make sense. So the teacher who have some kind of talent, skill to, you know, uh, understanding on this Dharma easier for when they use the example, when they use the logic, and it something can take your life into internal, more spiritual, who inspire, who can teach, who can guide you, who can inspire you, and who can like seeing him or her the teacher is like your role model, can take you on that kind of place. So to do this kind of thing is not like what kind of physical fame you have, how much money you have, how much power. It's not about that, right? It's something inner qualities. So, be smart and what you're looking, what way you rely on the person should be something that make sure you're understanding why you rely. Otherwise, your dharma is, oh, I just pray to the Buddha, I just pray to this master. The master can bless me. Master can take me into enlightenment. It's, in the Buddha himself saying, I can't wash your sin, your negative karma. He can't take your internal, suffering or negative emotion. He can't. So, tunam tipa chi mitushi, druidung chagin sayas. I can't take, other suffering through my hand. Niki to washena pomendis. I can't, what you call, uh, give you my high realization into you, right? I can't just transform my high realization into your mind. So only the way can teach you. Chini Dembartele drawings, right? It just teach you what is the truth, ultimate truths, and so forth. And through that, as a student, we take this class, we study, we become serious, and we apply internally. And through that, getting better, to reducing those ignorance. That's the way we go to the liberation, to enlightenment. So that kind of the person. So if your dharma is, oh, just pray somebody and who can just bless me and change my life, and I don't need to do, I just do prayer and offering money or offering, anything, and this guy should be take me into pure land or blah 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 like that. That's not going to work that way. As a Buddhist, our fundamental concept, you have to understand the difference between all the religion. I'm always telling you, put it into two different philosophy, two different faith, right? Which is one philosophy who believes everything is created by God, creator. One philosophy says, oh, there's no creator. So, so that's the fundamental. So that's the Buddhist, no creator. So self-responsibility. So you are the troublemaker. You have to fix your problem. You make trouble. You fix it. That's why self-responsibility. But to do that, we need to rely on somebody who can teach us, inspire us, and take self-responsibility, study, practice, purify this negative emotion. So that's the way. So yeah, the second course is the courses of being sustained by the virtuous spiritual guide. Then the third, the courses of being healed by great love and compassion. Yes, if you have in general meditation on love and compassion, and if you held by great love and compassion, it can take you into Mahayana path. So then the last, the courses of being able to withstand others' ascetic practices. So these are the four. We don't go very detailed. It comes later. These are in there. In the book. So I just give you first briefly explain, and this sometimes it helps you a little bit to, even you are not able to practice right now, but you can, develop these courses, and it can helps you to future to practices on Mahayana paths. Then the four conditions is seeing the inconceivable powers and capability of Bodhisattvas. So when you're seeing like His Holiness and those great masters, they inconceivable power and capability of these, the Bodhisattvas can inspire us, you know, it can encourage us. So we should look on that way. So looking on the negative people and doing this way, it can inspire you into negative way. If you're looking on these great masters, they general their lifestyle can so much inspire us to. That's why we're reading sometimes the Buddha stories, great masters, their stories. Uh, it's mainly to inspire us to our life should go like that same those masters. We should use or we should follow these masters. These are the conditions. Engaging in extensive hearing of the Bodhisattva's basket of the teachings. So, yeah, Changsing between a Mount Table, which in Tibetan is called engaging in extensive hearing of the Bodhisattva's basket, hearing of the Mahayana teachings, right? Bodhisattva baskets of teachings. So, read more Mahayana texts, engaging, listen those Mahayana like Bodhicitta teaching, compassion. It's again and again when not only, oh, I already take one time, now I don't need that. That doesn't mean. Even same teaching of Bodhicitta, you can take hundreds times, thousands times. Each time when you're hearing that, you're putting some kind of seed in your brain and in your heart to getting closer, 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 inspire you. So these are the conditions to inspire, to take you into the Mahayana path, to inspire you to study on Mahayana paths. Being unable to bear the degeneration of Mahayana teachings. Yeah, now, right now, as a human being, engaging with the masters, engaging with the Dharma friends, and Dharma, Mahayana Dharmas, these things, and now Mahayana Dharmas, and these are degeneration. It's slowly, slowly, it will change. Eventually, people are becoming more materialistic, and you hear most of the time it's about materialistic, about material world. It's very challenged every day, every time. So all the youngsters, when they grow up, it's all about the material. It's not interest. So it's generation, it's declining. So right now you have, I should do it. One day it will lose. This message will going to be disappear. Then finish. So being unable to bear bear the degeneration of Mahayana teachings. And then if you look into the scriptures, then they talk about the eons and eons. So, and some eons uh, of the times, they do not have any Mahayana teachings at all. So, these also inspire you. Today I can study, I can learn. Then, how long we stay? 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Then finish. So this is the one of the precious. So we talk about in Lamrim, it's called precious human life. So that we meditating on precious leisure and opportunities, 8 leisure and 10 opportunities, right? So we come back of us. It's we're free from 8 leisures, 8 non-leisures life. So 10 opportunities. 5 from oneself, 5 from others. That kind of life today we have. Now, be appreciated, be used worthwhile. It's something, oh, I have, that's all. Knowing the precious, your life is the precious, uh, life, which is knowing one's life is leisure and opportunity life. It's inspire. You use that to inspire you, to stimulate you yourself to engaging the dharma. So it's becoming seriously, becoming take it, because then next step, death meditation. One day I'm going to die, and death is certain. The time of death is uncertain. At the time of death, nobody can help except dharma. So meditation, all this, something really take you life into the Dhamma very seriously. So that's that kind of thing. So saying being unable to bear the degeneration of the Mahayana teachings, then last, seeing that in these degenerate times, giving rise to the mind of enlightenment is extremely rare. It's called Nyingme Tuite Semjeba Kumbak Tongwe Kienji Semjeba. So seeing that in these degenerated times, this time is called the degenerate times, because this is the time majority people interesting, and actually it's called the 5 different, more uh, degeneration of the uh, life, delusions, and so forth. So, but the point is, you can see today this world, majority is just run after the material. It's attached. It's slave of attachment. They do not have freedom. Their mind is completely dominant with attachment, greeds, selfish, or jealousy, and they're very busy about that. They're just running about this kind. So it's very rare to giving rise to mind of enlightenment. Very rare to achieve bodhicitta. Very rare to meditate, to arise, to achieve the bodhicitta. It's very rare. Majority is like so. Looking on these things, oh, I should do it. I should do the practice. These are very rare. It will be disappear one time. Right now, I can practice. I have no problem my brain capacity. I can think. I can meditate. I can read. I can analyze. I can, develop bodhicitta. I can do these things. And good thing is, I have a faith to this Mahayana paths. And good thing is, I have a teachers who can teach us, guide us. I have a Dharma students, sanghas who can inspire, who can something supports. So every external condition, internal conditions are there. Now I should use it. This is the golden chance. So if I don't use that, I will going to lose one day. Then finished. It's very difficult to come again, this kind of facilities, favorable condition. So very difficult to get these kind of opportunities. So inspire oneself. These are the conditions can help us to practice on bodhicitta. These are the 4 conditions. Then the 4 powers or 4 strengths. The strength arising from without dependent on suffering of others, but arising through one's own power. So that's very, very strong in your past life, whatever. You're meditating, it is called Shengi Shendunga Wala Matega Rantoki Kyabas. It's self-power, one's own power. So not, oh, today I saw this one guy is suffering, and that's why I feel compassion and I meditate, and then it's, it helps to develop bodhicitta. It's good, but you see the other suffering or not in front of you and here and there. So just having compassion to all sentient beings and every daily without relying on just other suffering here and there, you can do yourself meditate every day, self-own power to engaging to the bodhicitta, to inspire the bodhicitta. That uh, kind of the power called self-power or one's own power. Then second, the strength of arising on the basis of seeing others suffering. Yeah, the second one is, or you're seeing all these others suffering, others this, then it's something helps to feel compassion. Then through that, engaging to the bodhicitta. That is the power is based on relying on others suffering. Then strength of the power or the strength of arising through already being habituated in bodhicitta in previous lifetime. So if you have, even not achieved the bodhicitta, but in the previous life, if you meditate daily, then you have so much habits or imprints in your mind stream. You just already, by birth, you have habit to meditate on bodhicitta. Then the strength of arising through the kindness of a virtuous spiritual guide. So the one of the the virtuous, the great teacher, when you have a really good relationship with these teachers, sometimes, the power or the influence by your great teacher can influence us to engaging to the bodhicitta. So it's about student side. It's not about the teacher here or there. You have a full power. What kind of connection you want to make your teacher? You want to make your teacher as a friend, family, then you can get that kind of blessing. You're using him or her as a real teacher, so inspire you to engaging to the bodhicitta, to engaging in any spiritual like a dharma practices. Then when you make that, you can go that way. You keep that connection with your teacher, then always can helps you to your life will and how to engage into these dharma. Or if your connection to make the teacher as blessing master, or just saying, oh, he can bless me and help me this or that, then you can get that kind of blessing. So it's about yourself. You can generally can do all these things, specifically mainly, rather you should, make connection with your teacher as a real teacher who can teach you, who can inspire you. So you can use him or her as, guide to the Mahayana paths, or inspire, leads you into the Mahayana paths. So that's why to do this thing, get teaching, take a teaching from him or her. So that's the main purpose of the teacher, to rely on teacher, which is, him or her can teach you, guides you, inspire you, helps you to get rid of your misunderstanding, your wrong consciousness, or your ignorance, clean, to purify through teaching, through give this information, variety way, with the example, with the logic, with the story, with inspired story, whatever, very skillful, something to take you into there. So that all in your hand, your hand to make that connection. So these are the four strength or four power. So these are the causes, can help us to connection with the bodhicitta, to make connection, to to engaging to the bodhicitta. So then mainly the stage of the training bodhicitta consider. So as long as when you're connecting to the bodhicitta, now to generate the bodhicitta, these other things can help you to make connection, right? To becoming oneself, to interesting to study, to practice the bodhicittas and so forth. 4 causes, 4 conditions, 4 powers. Now the second thing is the stages of the training in the bodhicittas. The stages of the training in bodhicitta, this consists of 2 training. They have 2 different the lineage when we're receiving from Buddha to till today, mainly to grow the bodhicitta, we have 2 different lineage. The stages of training in bodhicitta, they have 2 lineage. So one they call the lineage ordination, the Buddha Shakyamuni, transmitted way Maitreya and Arya Asanga. And through that kind of lineage called the Gyachin Chuji, which means lineage of extensive deeds. So that lineage, Buddha to Maitreya, Maitreya to Arya Sanghas, and through that lineage of the one kind of lineage to develop the bodhicitta, that lineage, the name of that lineage called Gyachin Chuji in Tibetan, which means lineage of extensive deeds. From that lineage, how should we develop bodhicitta? They use called the 7-point cause and effect precepts or 7-point cause and effect instruction. Sometimes they use a very special word, 7-point quintessential instructions of cause and effect. Mainly the symbol is the 7-point cause and effect instructions of cause and effect or cause and effect precepts. Then second lineage is called the lineage that Buddha Shakyamuni transmitted way Manjushri to Arya Nagarjuna and Arya Shantideva and so forth. And that kind of lineage is called the training of equalizing and exchanging self and others. So it's called Dashen Namje in Tibetan. So Dashen Namje, which means the training of equalizing, Nyamba, equalizing and exchange, exchange what? Self and others, which means self-cherishing and cherish to others, right? We change. Usually we have right now, self so much cherish oneself, we ignore to others. So we need to change that mind. Instead of ignoring other, ignoring self. And instead of just thinking about self, me, cherish to other. So we switching this mind, changing this mind through equanimity is called equalizing and exchanging self and others. That kind of training, it comes through the Buddha Shakyamuni to Manjushri and Nagarjunas and Shantidevas and so forth, and that in Tibetan called Dashen Namje, the lineage, the name of that lineage is called the training of equalizing and exchanging self and others. So two sort of like a different lineage we have. So either sometimes some practitioner they use both of the lineage when they meditate. Some practitioner they use only the Maitreya lineage. Some practitioner they use just only the Manjushri lineage. But this depend on one's own what you call brain capacity, which one thinks makes more sense, makes more easier for you. So then you apply that practice. But to do this, first make sure you understand correctly both of these lineage. So when you're knowing that, then you investigate, then analyze, then finally meditate and you practice. So now first we follow the Maitreya's lineage, the 7-point cause and effect precepts. This consists of 3 parts: training the mind of strive for the welfare of others, I don't need to go all those details. Do not have that much time. Yeah, maybe. Training the mind to strive for the welfare of others, training the mind to strive for enlightenment, identifying the result of training Bodhicitta. The first, the training the mind strive for the welfare of others, this has 2 points. Giving rise to the basic of generating the mind of awakening, actual giving rise to the mind of awakening. Okay, I will go simple way. No, the first, the 7-point mind training. The 7-point mind training cause and effect, which 6 causes and result is the last one. So that's why the 7 point. 6 are the causes and the result of bodhicitta. So in order to develop the bodhicitta, it's not just bodhicitta directly. Other, if you go step by step, first this course, second this course, then next, then you can go to the bodhicitta. It's becoming better way to develop this bodhicitta. You have full foundation. Without foundation, you just meditate these kind of things. You put the houses on the ice. So the foundation is not strong enough, it will going to fall down. So the many people have problem is they do know some kind of bodhicitta, but they do not know the whole package to develop the bodhicitta. Then they just go straight on there and meditate bodhicitta. Then in a few years or this or that, eventually it's nothing get anything, then you give up. So you melt it or you fall down, give up that. So to do this, you have to have full package. First, what kind of foundation we needed. Even simple houses, when you build it, of course, make sure the foundation is detailed. So if you make something mistake the foundation, then this house will be a mistake. It will fall down. So that's why the need to have full package of the bodhicitta. So therefore, 7 point I mentioned earlier, 6 are the courses. So what are these 6? The first course is called All Sentient Being is My Mother. Remember, all sentient being is my mother, right? And remember their kindness. Then next, repay their kindness. Then next, affection, love. Then the next, compassion. Then next, it's called unusual attitude. In Tibetan called Haksan, unusual attitude, which means special compassion. So these are the 6 courses. So when you first, go step by step, when you're able to develop all these courses, then bodhicitta, when you meditate, it makes more easier. Not only that, it goes inside your heart changing. So otherwise, you meditate bodhicitta, it's just on the brain, just thinking, just visualizing. So you practice is all in the visualizing side, nothing in the transformation, nothing in what you call experience, not that much experience, just remain in visualization side, not that much benefit. So experiential, in order to experience, you have to go step, right? The first call, all sentient being is my mother. Then second course is, remember their kindness. Then third course is, repay their kindness. Then fourth, affection, love. Then fifth, compassion. Sixth, unusual attitude or special compassion. So these are the 6 courses. You have to know that. You have to learn, even just memorize these words. Then when you meditate, go step by steps. Then when you meditate on bodhicitta, it's becoming help us to go with the experiential level, not on the academic level. So to develop the first to meditate all sentient being is one's mother. Before that, according to the Lamrim, and they first teach you equanimity. So equanimity, developing equanimity towards all beings. So the developing equanimity is toward all beings. It's like a ground. It's like a ground. So first, make sure we have an even ground. If the ground is uneven, unequal, up and down, then when we put the seeds on there, so it's some certain area, the seeds comes very good fruits. Some area, it's not good. If the ground is not equal. So first, we have to build stable equanimity. So the ground should make sure stable, pure ground, which is equanimity. So first we meditate before we go to the 6 courses. Just make a basic ground. Basic meditation is equanimity. So how should we develop the equanimity? So of course, all those details, Lama Tsongkhapa Lamrims, and they also have, but I will give you just a simple point. Then, if your teacher wants to study, read these books and meditate, it more helps. So first, equal ground. How should we develop uh, equanimity and equanimity toward all sentient beings, right? Equal. Giving rise to the base, developing equanimity towards all beings. So, which means equanimity doesn't mean all those beings remain as an equal, which doesn't mean they all should be follow the same religion, they all should be eat the same foods, they all should be wear the same dress. That's impossible. It is not going to become that way because each individual has different brain capacity. Certain people like this, certain people like that. Certain people do not like this. Certain people like that. Certain people think that very suit, very benefit. Certain things they can harms you, right? Even the foods. Some people, when they eat this food, it's really helps you, digestion, everything. Some people, when they use that same food, it hurts them, it harms them. So it's different body, different brain, so different choice, different things they need it. So that we can't make equal to other side. Each individual have their own brain, they have their own mind, they have their own different habits, they have their own background, different. So you can. So equanimity is not about that. Equanimity, which means you're feeling toward others, you should look yourself. Are you feel equal to others? Not at all. We feel certain people very close, certain people very distant. Majority we ignore. So we feeling toward others are three different: closeness, distant, and ignorance. Ignore that. Neglecting, feeling neglecting. So these three, if you live with these three different state of mind, the feeling toward others, out of that, when your decisions become a bias. Because your mind is biased, your decision become a bias. Then when you act, when you treat to the people, bias. So that's why it's creating all these problems. So first, make sure your mind should be honest, unbiased. So these three feelings toward other is your feeling, that you can change it, and you have 100% power to change. These are changeable. It's not permanent. Outside these people make same, it's impossible, very difficult. But your feeling toward them is you can change. How should we change is because the feeling closeness, feeling distant, feeling neglecting toward other. Of course, there are conditions externally, but the fundamental causes of why we feel these three things toward other is because three poison minds, which are the attachment, your anger, your ignorance. These are the three minds creates feeling toward others, closeness, distant, and neglecting toward others. So these are the three minds of the fundamental causes. Then you can change this mind because those mental afflictions are the temporarily. These are not our innate nature. These are temporarily. So we need change. But in order to change these three poison mind, we need to have tool, right? To use this tool. So that's why the brain, we learning the Dharma, that's the point. We learning, engaging to the Mahayana practices, we study this Dharma, then we use that tool to change, to fix those three poison minds. That's called the meditation. Meditate and change that. So to change these things is not just only prayer, only recite the mantra, because when you feel close, you have some kind of attachment. You attach this, that's why you feel close. That attachment is the mind. It's what you call, it's grasping something, or it's apprehending something which is not true, which is completely mistake. So those mistake, wrong apprehending, you apprehend, you grasping them, you prove that, you apply the antidote, the right attitudes. When you apply that, understanding wrong as a wrong, then you show the right in evidence, then slowly, 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 that wrong attitudes of the attachment, slowly, slowly is melted down. You go to the opposite way of that. Then same at the anger, same at the ignorance. When these three poison minds are melted down, then your feeling toward others is completely same, equal. So it's not about this is my children, that's why I feel close. That we think, but mainly your attachment. For instance, even the twin sisters, twin brother, they're same bloods. Sometimes their life is like worse enemy each other. Do not want to talk to each other, always fighting each other, always living with enemy each other. Even they are your bloods. So it's not about this is my children, my family, we feel close. That doesn't mean your own twin becoming enemy, one of the worst. Sometimes you have no idea this guy or he or she, but they are becoming one of the best friends, one of the closeness, more than your own twin brother and sisters. Background is completely different. Different tradition, different culture, but whatever reason, your relation with him or her is becoming much, much closer than your own twin brother and sisters. So physically, this is your blood. This is nothing relation. You do not have any history. But that doesn't mean my feeling. My feeling is mine. So I attach so much, feel close. I angry to him or her, feel distant, right? So it's about your feeling. It's not about where they are. So these three poison minds, we need to be changed. So when you change that, then your feeling towards others become really equal, same. So to change these things, then we have a step. What kind of meditation? What should we think? What kind of philosophy can help us to change that feeling towards others? Then we study, investigate, meditate again and again. Slowly, step by step, it's changing. It's reducing these, poison minds. Or slowly, when they reduce, your feeling toward others, unequal feeling, will change slowly, slowly, slowly. That's the result of the meditation. So to do these things, we need to read it, and next class we're going to talk detail about the equanimity, teaching on equanimity. So in these weeks, it's good if you read these things, specific the Lama Tsongkhapa Lamrims, specific on the chapter equanimity practice, then that will help you more. Make sure you fully understand, and you have to put it in a simple way. Read so many, study so many things, then put it into simple way when you meditate. So then it's otherwise too big. Then you struggle. Oh, meditation. Now what I need to meditate? Where? It's very complicated. So all those read, and you have to be conclusion to make simple way. Okay, first I do this way, second do that way, third that way, then that will. So I have to make that. So that's the important when you use at the practical way, meditation way. Okay, it's already 10 o'clock here. So we are going to leave here, and I'm not sure next weekend we can do it. Not, I will just keep posting. If next Saturday, if I do not have any other schedule, then we're going to post it in Skype here. So just check sometime. I think that's today. So we'll leave here, and we're going to do the first small dedication prayer as usual. So we recite small prayers here, some prayers. So during that time, to dedicate our virtues and merits to benefit to others, you know, to achieve enlightenment, to sake of all sentient beings, to achieve the Bodhicittas and so forth, and mainly the world peace. It's more important, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and through that all the great master in this planet will remain eons and eons, and they can achieve their full wishes, completed. So can dedicate on these things. Dagi jini sabi jewa de dendang towa kunla kang dendang chebara jijun losan tabari denbe yinbo rinto seche jo chancho simcho rinpoche maji parna kiyo jeba nyamba meba yang kwane kondo pewa sho kare rabye koye shingam so pendang tewa mari chunye jere sama tingjin jato chape siti pato tingyo ji penze ti tenpa sibe ta nyeto lungi nambara biyo tenpe ngang su shen tenpa ichi ni pe tato kangwa sho lapa sonde ngome zenpa yi bibe tsoji nete yonka tato shiru chape siti pato ti chocho kiebe tashi sho. Okay, thank you.